Hi, I'm Adam Kunzmiller with RPG Geek at Gen Con 2014, and I'm joined by James Jacob with Paizo Publishing, and we're here to talk about Pathfinder and the various things they've been coming out with lately. So, what do we have here?
Well, we've got a bunch of stuff. One of the big things we come out with at this show here is we just launched a new adventure path, the Iron Gods Adventure Path, which is something that I've been really looking forward to a long time. I mean, you can tell in the front it's got a little bit different stuff going on than normal. It's all about science fiction meeting fantasy. Mm-hmm. We've had this area in our world called Numeria, and it's kind of a place where this, like 9,000 years ago, a spaceship from some other galaxy crashed into the ground, and we got like finally some art of it like crashing in here. Like here's part of it coming down and just smashing into the world of Galarian. It's robots, lasers, and spaceships. Oh my! And we just got. I don't want to show off too much, to give too many spoilers. But I can do something along the lines of talk about how. Where is it? Well, we got like these robot type characters that are going to be showing up in here. They're in here somewhere. Here we go.
Oh, very cool.
Like medical drones with like fingers filled with syringes and stuff like that, and. It just starts out with you exploring this underground kind of lost spaceship, and it just gets crazier from there.
So that seems to take Pathfinder into some unexplored territory with that sci-fi integration.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we're supporting that with People of the Stars, which is like kind of a player-centric version that talks about some of the other things you can do. But really the big book that's going to be supporting it is the technology guide. This book is going to be online. We're putting it up on our PRD for free for all of the rules so that you can use it. But the book itself is just filled with all sorts of, it's got X lasers and stun guns and powered armor and gravity suits, just all sorts of new magic items, technological items that kind of work like magic items, rocket launchers, sonic pistols. So there's all sorts of new toys for your player characters to not only, find and use, against the orcs and the goblins and stuff you'd be fighting, but, you're going to be fighting against androids and like nanotech controlled like cyborgs and all sorts of crazy stuff in this one.
And this integrates with all of the other Pathfinder materials. So if you want to have, chainsaws and lasers in your, on your wizard's hip, you can do that.
Absolutely. You'll have to take the proficiency in chainsaws. It's not something you just pick up. You'll cut your arm off. But so that's the big new adventure path we're starting. Then another big book that we're launching here is the Advanced Class Guide. This book here is our latest in our rulebook line. It's got 10 new. We basically decided that we wanted to do a new type of character class. It's called a hybrid class. The difference between this and other base classes is that it kind of takes two roles and kind of hybridizes them together. Let's see if I can find someone. Like the Skull, for example, is a barbarian and a bard kind of mushed together. So he's kind of got a lot of the bard type stuff, but he's not really going to be as much about, bolstering the party as much as he is about like also doing some sort of manipulating rages. I believe you can give other people the rage ability. And
so it's not as simple as just like multi-classing a bard and a fighter together.
Yeah, it's actually
integrated things that are meant to work well together.
Yeah, one of the problems one of the the issues with multi-classing, of course, is if you're playing a bard, you want to get the higher level spells.
Right.
And every level you take that's not a bard delays those spells somewhat. So these are also just kind of a way to combine these popular combinations. You get like the Swashbucklers is my favorite in the book. This is basically a combination of a gunslinger and a fighter, I believe is what it is. So it's kind of like she's sort of a fighter. She's all about like fighting one-handed and like, whooshing her cape around and just dancing around being mobile. But at the same point, she's got a lot of the gunslinger tricks, which is like this grit and panache where she can basically show off and get bonuses to her abilities just by, being outlandish and all that. So it's pretty cool. This book's also got a lot of new spells, new feats, new options for all of the other character classes in the game. So like if you're playing a rogue and you really like your rogue, but you're like, oh, I want to be able to do some swashbuckler stuff. Yeah. You'll be able to take some feats and some archetypes that'll let you dip into that and kind of play sort of a swashbucklerly rogue or fighter or whatever you want to do. Swashbuckler wizard if you want or anything like that. So so this one's really doing a brisk business over at the booth, and so we're really pleased with that.
And now we have this
Emerald Spire
Super Dungeon. What is a Super Dungeon?
A Super Dungeon is kind of just a dungeon that just seems to go on forever. This one's got 15 levels and one above ground level, so technically 16 levels. We did this as it's kind of a tie-in to our MMO that we're doing with our sister company, Goblin Works. And that's Pathfinder Online. It's going to be all about like colonization and inter-party warfare and like building up your own communities and then going to war with other communities, all player versus player. The Emerald Spire Super Dungeon is more focused on more traditional gameplay, and this is basically just an enormous dungeon. Like here's an example. Jason Bowman, our lead designer, wrote this level, and every one of the levels fits onto a flip mat, so you can just throw that down on the table and start playing. Again, we've got 16 different levels. We've got Frank Menser wrote one of the levels. Ed Greenland wrote a level. A lot of us at Paizo, Jason wrote one, I wrote one, Eric Mona, the publisher, wrote one. Our fearless leader, Lisa, wrote a level. Mike Stackpole wrote a level. So it's kind of an all-star of just all the people we admire. And it's just get them in there, do a level, and give your best to kill off those player characters.
And so these all launched here at Gen Con, and this one just previous?
We've just launched this at PaizoCon about a month ago, and then the Advanced Class Guide and the Iron Gods Adventure Pack just launched here at Gen Con, yeah.
And when will people be able to get it in more wider distribution?
It's all ready to go now.
Already.
Pick it up at your friendly local game store and start shooting lasers at your swashbucklers anytime you want.
Sounds good. And what's next in the Pathfinder universe? What are you guys working on?
So right now on the Adventure Path side, the next thing we're doing after we finish up with Iron Gods is we know people are going to be, there's a certain amount of people that aren't going to be really to mix the sci-fi and the fantasy. So the next thing we're doing is called Giant Slayer. That's going to be really kind of a back to the basics, go kill giants, just giants, orcs as well and stuff, but it's really traditional stuff.
So more high fantasy.
Yeah, high fantasy. And then after that, I just announced a couple days ago here at Gen Con, the next adventure we'll be launching at the next Gen Con 2015 is the Hell's Rebels Adventure Path, which is it's set in our nation of Cheliax, which is where the devil basically is in charge, and it's ruled by these Diabolists who are not good guys, they're really bad guys. Right. It's Hell Knights and devil worshippers and all that. And the Hell's Rebels Adventure Path is going to give your characters a chance to rebel against this regime and kind of try to carve out your own little safe realm inside of that land. So that's going to be pretty exciting as well. Next up in the hardcover line, we've got the Monster Codex coming out later this year, which is, if people remember, we did the NPC Codex a couple years ago, which collects a bunch of NPC stat blocks together. Right. So you can just grab a 4th level fighter and an 8th level wizard. You don't have to make them, they're just right there. Monster Codex does the same thing for monsters. So it's got a bunch of, like if you want to populate a goblin lair, it'll have goblin guards and a chieftain and a shaman and archer and all of this thing. I think we've got, I don't remember off the top of my head, we got maybe at least a dozen, maybe 20 different monsters, like from goblins on up to fire giants. So it's a wide range of stuff. And one of the actually things that I'm most excited about with Monster Codex is just one of the appendices. It's got a new kind of simple template you can throw onto a monster that just, rather than making it, if you want to say you have an Otyug of all things, or that you want to make tougher, and you can give them fighter levels or something like that, which is kind of weird, or you want to make the fire giant be a little like a wizard.
Sure.
That can get really complicated, and it's kind of weird to have like a fire giant as this really powerful creature, and he's a 1st level wizard. Right. So it doesn't kind of match up. We got these new simple templates called wizard creatures, cleric creatures, fighter creatures.
Okay.
So you can basically put this really quick, easy template on it. It doesn't actually make their basic stats change or anything, but it kind of gives them a lot of the powers that these classes have that you would expect to have from something as powerful as a fire giant. So it's a really cool solution.
All right, well, thank you very much. Once again, that was the update on Pathfinder.